but you gotta keep your head up. Oh, it's kicking these rocks, it's kinda hard to watch this life go by.
Good evening and welcome to the Carolyn Holt Show. Man, that song is so true. You got to keep your head up. You really do. And especially in the workplace. The workplace has become very contentious. It's always had its issues, but lately it seems that there's a lot of conflict and a lot of things going on that should be addressed, and perhaps it does not get addressed, and we're going to talk about it tonight. And one of the main things that happen in the workplace is it's called pulling rank or rankism, and so we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about how to get a pay increase and how to dress for a job, so a lot of things. And I want you to participate, so please feel free to call me at area code 323-293-3375 if you'd like to make a comment or ask a question. Again, that phone number is area code 323-293-3375. Now, Joyce Russell, she's a dean at the University of Maryland, and so she wrote this piece. She's also, I guess, a career coach, and she wrote a piece for the Washington Post. And in her piece, she talks about pulling rank and how that all looks in the workplace. And unfortunately, it doesn't look too pretty. So I'm going to share with you what Joyce had to say, and if you have any thoughts or comments about it, please feel free to call. It says that, have you ever witnessed people who pull rank on another person who is lower in the organization's hierarchy? They make abusive or manipulative comments. They act disrespectfully to others or take advantage of them. They abuse their power or their perceived power. The term rankism was used by Robert W. Fuller in his book, Somebodies and Nobodies, Overcoming the Abuse of Rank, as treating people that we perceive to be lesser than us in a lesser manner simply because we can. Now, when I was growing up, my parents always said, play nice and be nice. And this is not fair play, and this is not being nice. So we want to talk about this because we want to correct it. It's not necessary. It says that it involves acting in a superior way in an attempt to get what we want, such as eliminating the competition so that we can win at all costs or feel better about ourselves. And it can take many forms. I guess the main form that it takes is exploiting the position to obtain unwarranted advantages and benefits, such as a senior leader rewarding himself or herself with perks, and people who play a lesser role, they get nothing. And not even, sometimes you can ask, well, something special is happening in my life and I'd like to schedule a date off to participate in some family thing. And many times managers will say, oh, okay, well, if you can get your position covered, maybe that's something we can do. But many times you can go the extra mile and the effort in order to get somebody to cover you, and at the last minute, for whatever reason, they change their mind, which puts you in a bind. And so it just shouldn't be that way, especially when there has been, some previous discussion. It says that they also they abuse a position of power, such as tenured faculty members telling students they can do what they want in the classrooms since they can't be fired. Now, most of us pay to go to college. There are a few of us. I know I was blessed. I got scholarships, and I went to a very well-known university, the University of Texas at Austin. But I must say, when I was there, I did see some of this, and it's not pretty. So we want to talk about this tonight so that the people that are doing these things can take a look at themselves and their behavior and the effect that their behavior has on others, and they can stop doing it. The next thing they like to do is use rank as a cover to insult or humiliate others. Now, I haven't seen this a lot in my career, but I have seen it a couple of times, and again, it's not pretty. And I guess you just have to figure out, as the person that's the recipient of the abuse, is it worth going to the supervisor? Is it worth just taking it and moving on? You have to come to the conclusion as to, what steps you want to take to change some of these things. It says that it can and does occur in any social hierarchy. Every day we see examples of rankism, including parents beating up on their children, doctors yelling at nurses, teachers treating students badly, and customers being demanding of waiters. And I've seen that a lot in restaurants where no matter what happens, they can't get the food right. The food is too cold. It's too hot. It's not done enough. Just all kinds of things. I've always been kind of afraid to do all of that, though, because when you think about it, those people have your food in their hands, and I'm just not sure what happens once it leaves my eyesight. So I'm always nice to people in the restaurant. But it says in the workplace, rankism leads to lowered morale and productivity, which is true. Now, I think it's just simple reasoning that if you treat your employees with dignity and with respect, many times they will work very hard for the company, and they don't even request more pay to do so. So I guess you should think about that. If you're a person that's being abusive and taking advantage of your rank, think about if you create a happy workplace where at least people can feel appreciated and valued for what they do, I think you'll get better results. It says that in the workplace, rankism leads to lowered morale and productivity, loss of talent, and disgruntled employees. Those being abused feel degraded, disrespected, and demeaned. Similar to harassment at work, instead of being able to focus on work, individuals are consumed with either engaging in rankism or suffer due to it. Researchers have also shown that it damages attempts by an organization to develop an inclusive workplace. It would seem that those being abused by others in higher positions of power would simply speak up and defend themselves. But often this does not happen. People just go along for a variety of reasons. They may fear the consequences if they speak up. They may continue to work, but without the same sense of spirit or energy. They become less engaged and look for opportunities to lead. This can be highly damaging to a firm when it loses valuable talent, and yet it may never know the real reason some individuals leave. Here are some thoughts for dealing with rankism at work. Individuals at work take their cues from the top. For any ism, sexism, racism, rankism, or any other ism, to end, the senior leader has to ensure that the work culture will not tolerate it. The top leader must not only not engage in rankism behaviors, but more importantly, stop them once they are seen. Employees have to feel comfortable being able to speak up. You know you have a rankism culture if people are fearful of questioning things. Ensuring that the compensation systems do not reinforce rankism. For instance, if the pay of senior leaders and the chief executive is significantly above the lowest employee, as is often the case in the United States, this perpetuates the belief that some individuals are worth significantly more than others. Also, she recommends that you listen to everyone, especially those at lower levels in the organization. Follow the principle of management by walking around to meet employees and ask them how things are going, and listen to what they have to say. Then act on what they have told you. Listening alone is not enough. Rankism is difficult to address and to remedy, but it is crucial to eliminate if an organization is to truly value the contributions and the talents of everyone. What is at issue is the abuse of rank or power. Sometimes the best way to challenge or address rankism is to pull rank and have a person who outranks the offenders call them on it and insist that they stop it. Now, you have to be pretty bold to pull rank on your job, but as Ms. Russell suggests, sometimes I guess you have to fight fire with fire, and you have to put aside your fears and do what is in your best interest as the employee. Now, I would say the company that I'm about to talk about, Chobani Yogurt, they don't have this problem. Apparently, the owner of Chobani, he has done something that's considered monumental, I guess, in the workplace. He has implemented a system where his employees will get some major monetary benefit if he offers the company an IPO or if he sells the company. Now, Chobani Greek yogurt, it's known for being rich in flavor and protein. And this is from Jenna McGregor. She does a column in the Washington Post on leadership. And in this piece about Chobani, some of the employees at Chobani could become rich themselves if Hamdi Yulukai announced that he would be giving all of his 2,000 full-time workers awards that could be worth up to 10% of the privately held company's value if the company goes public or is sold. This would be based on the employee's tenure and the role at the company, which can be converted to cash or shares in the event of an initial public offering or sale. And so if the sale or the IPO happens at the company, which is worth, if it's worth at least $3 billion, the average employee would get at least $150,000. Now, we're going to go to break, and when we come back, we're going to tell you a little bit more about Chobani, and we're going to discuss how to get a raise out of your boss. So stay with us.
Math Maze. Why not turn math time into fun time with Math Maze, the new game craze? Get yours today at mathmaze.us.
Mom, now you can help your son master math and have big fun. Play it each and every day. Master math the easy way. Sing, play, Math Maze.
Make sure your child owns the skills necessary for success in high school algebra. Get it now. Mathmaze.us. Mathmaze.us.
Dad, now you can help your daughter play it like you know you oughta. Play it each and every day. Master math the easy way. Say it, play it. Math Maze.
Math Maze cards contain both Spanish and English. Get yours today at mathmaze.us. That's mathmaze.us.
And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. We're talking about the workplace and some of the issues that we're confronted with daily, and one of them is pulling rank on the job because you have a high-powered position and you feel that you can just treat people at the bottom with a lot of disrespect. And I'm here to tell you, can't do that. No can do. But before the break, I was talking about Chobani yogurt and the possibility that they may be sold, or that they will have an initial public offering of about $3 billion, which each employee stands to gain at least $150,000 in cash. And depending on how long you've been there, some of the employees could end up with at least $1 million. And Mr. Ulukaya said that the award was not a gift, but a mutual promise to work together with a shared purpose and responsibility. He says, how we built this company matters to me, but how we grow it matters even more. I want you, the employees, to be a part of this growth, and I want you to be the driving force of it. Now, what's unusual about the Chobani situation is that normally just the CEOs and the people in the executive level, they're the ones that's normally rewarded with, extra pay and perks. But this man has decided that all of his employees, they deserve to share in the wealth and the good fortune of the company, and I applaud him because we don't hear about people like him often. So I'm excited for those employees, and that's probably something I would do for my company if I had $3 billion lying around. I would probably share as well. But the other thing that stresses people out and causes a lot of problems is getting a raise. And if you want to know how to get a raise tonight, you need to call me at area code 323-293-3375. Again, that's area code 323-293-3375, because we're going to talk about that. It's not as easy as you might want to believe. And so there's a little bit of strategy involved. And so there are two scenarios I'm going to share with you. And this lady, Carla Miller, she's also with the Washington Post. And the column that she does is called Drama and Trauma at Work. And I guess asking for a raise is often considered both drama and trauma, but she gives some scenarios, and hopefully with this information you'll be able to not only ask for a raise but get one, because people, employers, they don't like to feel that they have to give you a raise. They don't like, I guess, employees who feel that they are entitled. I have some thoughts about that, but I didn't write this column. She did. So we're going to talk about what she says. She says that you're entitled to talk about your pay. Just don't sound entitled. Here's the question. The question is, after an excellent review from my supervisor, I was bummed to learn I would be receiving a minimal pay increase. But I was more upset by the way I was informed. The supervisor came to my cubicle, said she didn't want to book a room for a 10-second conversation, and then handed me a Post-it note. On that note was written my current salary, the percentage increase and the actual amount of my raise. As she walked away, she said, "Let me know if you have any questions." She did the same with a couple of my teammates. It felt unprofessional and disrespectful. What do you think of the way that this supervisor handled the situation? Well, I can't wait to share the answer. It says, I've been notified of raises via private meeting, letter, email, and phone calls, always discreetly. The only inappropriate method I can imagine would be a public announcement backed by a sad trombone. You're getting 6 cents an hour more. Womp, womp, womp. Despite what you say, I suspect you're mostly upset, not by the medium, but by the implied message. This is all your efforts are worth to us. Even if your supervisor didn't want to make a big deal out of what she knew would be disappointing news, she could have reassured you that you're valued. I wish we could have given you more. There wasn't enough in the budget for more than token raises this year. But a sticky note doesn't have to be the last word. You're entitled to discuss your pay, provided that you don't sound entitled. I appreciated receiving a raise, you might respond, but the amount seemed inconsistent with the strong, positive feedback in my annual review. Could we meet to discuss how I might enhance my earning potential in the coming year? Well, that really sounds good, but I don't think most people sound that way when they're trying to get more money out of the boss. Perhaps that's how they should sound, but I don't think they are nearly quite as polite, and certainly not using the King's English as this situation suggests. But I do think that when asking for a raise, you not only have to consider where you are, but where the company is, and be respectful and be open to whatever the answer might be in the event that it does not work in your favor. But asking for a raise is certainly something that should be done if you are a major contributor in your position at your job. Now, if you want to talk about asking for a raise, please feel free to call me at area code 323-293-3375. Again, that's area code 323-293-3375. And we can talk about getting a raise. The other question that came up is the employee says that I'm hoping to have a new employee report to me in the future. And I heard that my company, that there is a significant increase in salary for taking on direct reports. And by direct reports, this person means the person that they're going to hire will report directly to them. It says, are there any laws that mandate this in case my company tries to avoid giving me a raise? Now, the answer says that the Fair Labor Standards Act allows employers to exempt executive employees from overtime pay and minimum wage requirements if they oversee at least 2 people and meet other criteria. But although it's usually viewed or sold as a promotion, becoming exempt doesn't necessarily mean getting a raise. Unless you can prove a discriminatory pay gap, more moolah for managers is entirely at the employer's discretion. So if no raise materialize, look outside the law to build your case. Does having a subordinate help you expand your services or resolve systemic inefficiencies? Can you show how your new role increases your value or productivity? This is your best argument for convincing an employer that it can't afford to lose you. So you have to be strategic, and you have to kind of take your feelings out of the situation many times when you're getting a raise. But I would say that if you're going to have to supervise more people, why not ask for a raise? Because you're going to get more things that you're required to fulfill. So generally, with more responsibility comes more money. But again, it's the way in which you present it that ultimately makes the difference. Now, we've talked a lot about a lot of different things this evening. And if you have a specific question, I want you to feel free to call at area code 323-293-3375, because we want to help you to minimize the trauma and the drama that you go through at work. You know, you need a job, and if you're not ready to start your own business, then you have to figure out a way to make the workplace and the workday as pleasant as possible. Now, many times when people don't have a job and they're trying to get one, especially the millennials, which is our audience, there are a lot of mistakes that they tend to make. So I want to share with you some of the most common and see if you can't minimize your career. I should say minimize the issues regarding your career if you are a first-time job seeker, because that can be tricky, especially if you don't have any work experience. It can be tricky. So I have some tools here that I think will help you in terms of doing really good as a first-time job seeker. It says that there's a lot that first-time job seekers bring to the table. They're often eager and enthusiastic. They're technologically savvy and up-to-date on the latest skills and trends in their desired field. Yet, there is still a lot that new job seekers have to learn when it comes to mastering the job search. Here, experts weigh in on 10 mistakes many first-time job seekers make and how these errors can be avoided. Now, if you have a new college degree, I can understand how this first error can come about. It says putting too much weight on the GPA. A mistake first-time job seekers make is believing that high academics is the most important factor in finding a job, says Stephanie Kincaid, program coordinator for the Wackerly Career and Leadership Center at Mammoth College in Mammoth, Illinois. Graduates need leadership qualities and the ability to articulate how these experiences have created a well-rounded individual. So while your GPA is important when you're getting your first job out of college, you need to be able to articulate how the experiences that you've had created a well-rounded individual. The next thing you need to consider not doing enough research. Now, I think this is the case in almost any situation on the job. If the research is lacking, then the issue can be just totally blown out of proportion. It says that many times job seekers don't realize the importance in conducting research, says Deborah Ann Matthews, professional resume writer and certified career coach. Learn about how to obtain a job. Go to the library and read about job search tools. Go to your local career center and see what they have to offer. And then take your inquiry a step further. See if these same institutions have social media services. So don't rely so much on what they're going to do for you. This is the lifting that you need to do in your search. The next thing is not staying up to date on industry trends. Graduates should do research not only on the company to which they are applying, but about the field in general, Kincaid says. For instance, if you're entering the medical field, you should be knowledgeable about the Affordable Care Act, how politics affect medicine, and social issues. And that is true. You do need to know some of the concerns and the issues that are part of that field in order to complete and have your job search pay off. The next mistake is only considering full-time jobs. First-time job seekers devalue the benefits of temp and short-term and placement services, Matthews says. Temp jobs can be of value to a job seeker by giving that job seeker work experience in various tasks. Many temp agencies will offer computer-based training that can be learned and applied to resumes and used by job seekers to leverage their job search in a more strategic manner. Next, you should consider focusing only on jobs related. You should not focus only on jobs related to your degree. Dylan Switzer, Group Talent Acquisition Manager for Enterprise Holdings, says that the new job seekers often think that they can only work in a field directly related to their major and only apply for jobs in a specific industry. You major in what you're interested in learning more about, but that doesn't pigeonhole you into one type of opportunity. Next, making the interview about them, not the employer. Job seekers who spend their initial interview talking about what they need a job, talking about why they need a job, how much they want some company benefit, instead of talking about how they will solve problems for the company and bring value, are ensuring they will not be asked back for a second interview. Well, I think that's pretty evident. Karen Southall Watts, a consultant, coach, and speaker, says that everyone is well aware of the fact that people need jobs. Hiring managers want to know why, of all the needy, worthy candidates, they should hire you. The next consideration is dressing inappropriately in professional settings. Often, first-time job seekers have not been exposed to work-appropriate attire, says Lindsay Witcher, Manager of Practice Development at Rise Smart, which provides next-generation enterprise career management solutions. How you dress directly affects how people perceive you and whether or not they will take you seriously. For this reason, make sure you're dressed professionally when networking and interviewing. If you aren't sure what is appropriate, ask for the opinions of people you trust who have a few years of successful professional experience under their belt. The next consideration is being unenthusiastic. Enthusiasm is critical to being considered for a position. If you appear bored or if you have something better to do while interviewing or networking, hiring managers will not consider you as a viable candidate. Show enthusiasm not only through your conversation, but through your knowledge about the company and your interest in the position. Focusing on salary. Young professionals often fail to look at the big picture when deciding whether or not to take a position and instead focus too much on the salary, says Chaz Pitts-Kaiser, speaker on career life topics for young professionals. and author of Embracing the Real World, The Black Woman's Guide to Life After College. But how happy will they be with what seems to be a great salary if their benefits are measly, the commute gives them a headache, or their workload is insane? Everything about a company and what it offers and does not offer should be taken into consideration prior to accepting or rejecting a job offer. And the last mistake is knowingly taking the wrong job. Times are hard, and it's not always wise to hold out for the perfect job, Watts says. However, when you get that sinking feeling and you know a position is a poor match for your skills or temperament, you are wise to pass. When in doubt, discuss with a mentor before making irreversible decisions. And that is so true. Often, if we are in need of a job, we just accept a situation knowing in our gut that it doesn't fit us. But, I wouldn't recommend that, just as she does not, because each day that you go in there, you're going to have that issue in your stomach and feel like, I just don't really want to be here. So in moving forward, always think about, do you really want to come to this job? Even though you need a job, you do want to have some enthusiasm about coming. And people know when you're not really enthusiastic. But one of the points she brought up was appropriate attire for interviewing. And it seems that this is an area that a lot of people struggle. And one of the things that they say is you should wear what is appropriate for based on the company that you are working for. It says your appearance is a reflection of your level of professionalism, how seriously you're taking the opportunity, and the level of respect for the interviewer. So when it comes down to you and one other candidate, do you think the hiring manager will pick the candidate who showed up in jeans and a T-shirt, or the one who took the time to shave, iron his shirt, or polish his shoes? Of all the pressing questions that plague us prior to a job interview, will I have the right qualifications? What if I botch my interview? How do I pronounce the company name? It seems silly that what I should wear would be one of the issues. After all, what do clothes have to do with your ability to do the job in question? And that's a valid argument. But while your skills, experience, and capabilities will ultimately win you the job, how you present yourself can have a big impact on the hiring manager's impression of you. Your appearance is a reflection of your level of professionalism, how seriously you're taking the opportunity, and your level of respect for the interviewer. So when it comes down to you and another candidate, do you think the hiring manager will pick the candidate who showed up in the jeans and the T-shirt? So in terms of deciding what to wear, when, the question of what to wear during the interview is harder to answer than ever. Gone are the days when a suit was the universal standard. Today, each company and professional may be another company's stuffy and uptight look. Take startups, for example. Startups are famous for having a more lax atmosphere and dress code. So if you show up for a job interview in a suit and tie or conservative dress, you may give off the impression you're too uptight for the laid-back culture and not a good fit for the company. The same concept may apply to a job at a creative agency, where the traditional interview outfit may come across as unoriginal or boring. You can usually get away with adding something extra to show your originality and personality, such as a statement necklace, bright scarf, or bold tie, but be careful not to overdo it so that it appears too much like a costume. And our dear Felicia, she shared with me how she showed up for a job in lace gloves. I remember that, but she got the job, so it worked. Of course, there are still organizations where employees are expected to wear business suits every day, such as law offices or finance industry. But even at large corporations, the dress code may vary by department. Those with client-facing positions and managerial roles may be expected to have more formal attire, while others, such as creatives and IT employees, may be able to get away with jeans. Your best bet is to do your homework. When in doubt, go ahead. When in doubt, ahead of time, figure out what the standard dress code would be for the role and the company to which you're interviewing. So when we come back, we're going to finish this up, and then we're going to talk about some good news for 2016 graduates. Stay with us. And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Again, we're talking about workplace issues, from getting a job, getting a raise, how to dress for that first interview for your first job. We're talking about all of these things, pulling rank on the job. And if you'd like to share some of your stories, you can feel free to call me at area code 323-293-3375. Again, that's 323-293-3375. And just before the break, we were talking about dressing appropriately for the interview. And here's a cheat sheet for things to always consider, and this way you can probably get it right. It says, for business professional jobs, in a business professional atmosphere, suits are the norm. Women might wear a skirt or pantsuit with heels, while men may wear a blazer or suit jacket, a button-down shirt, suit pants, a tie, and dress shoes. For business casual, forget the suit when interviewing at a business casual company. Men might opt to wear dress slacks or chinos, a button-down or polo shirt, a belt, and dress shoes. Women might consider wearing a conservative dress or a blouse or sweater with a skirt or dress pants and dress shoes or boots. Casual. When interviewing at a casual office, it's still important to look polished and professional. Men might consider wearing a long-sleeve dress shirt, khaki pants, a belt, and dress shoes. And women might wear a collared shirt with pants or a pencil skirt or a work dress. So that's just a thumbnail sketch of what to consider in the three different settings when interviewing or when working at a company that fits into one of those settings. But the good news that I wanted to share with you, that for the 2016 job forecast for the college graduates of 2016, there's a lot of good things to look forward to. It says that if you're a soon-to-be college graduate, you might be having mixed emotions right now. It's exciting to think that not only are you done with school forever, but that the world is at your fingertips. Without school to go back to, you're now free to backpack around Europe, join the Peace Corps, or finally binge watch everything in your Netflix queue. Eventually, however, you'll need to get a job, assuming you don't win the lottery, inherit a great fortune, or marry into the Kardashian family first. And that can be terrifying. Well, that's what this person said, not me. This is from Career Builder. Career Builder says, fortunately for this year's graduates, the prospects of getting a job are brighter than in previous years. According to a new survey from Career Builder, 67% of employers say they plan to hire recent college graduates this year, up from 65% last year, and the highest outlook since 2007. More than a third, 37%, will offer higher pay than last year, and 28% will pay $50,000 or more. The skills that make you stand out. If you want to stand apart from other job candidates, when writing your cover letters and interviewing with potential employers, emphasize your interpersonal and people skills. Skills 52% of employers think recent college graduates lack for the workplace. So employers think that you recent college graduates, that you don't have the interpersonal skills, and you need to emphasize that you do. Other skills employers say recent college grads lack the most include problem-solving skills. 48% said that they feel that's what they lack. 42% said that they lack leadership. Well, that's understandable, if you've not had a job before. 39% said that they feel that they lack teamwork skills. 37% said skills with written communication. 37% also said oral communication skills. 35% said creative thinking. And 27% said project management. Now, the hot areas for hiring is that when it comes to the types of jobs for which employers will be hiring new grads, information technology is at the top with 27%. Customer service jobs, 26%, top the list. There will also be plenty of opportunities in finance, accounting, 19%, business development, 19%, and sales, 17%. The salary expectation is that it's lucky for this year's graduates because employers are feeling pretty generous when it comes to entry-level paychecks. More than a third of employers who plan to hire recent college graduates this year will offer higher starting salaries than they did last year. The expected starting salaries for recent graduates are as follows. Under $30,000, 25%. $30,000 to less than $40,000, 28%. $40,000 to less than $50,000, 20%. And $50,000 and higher, 27%. So the other thing to consider is just because it's your first offer, don't feel like you have to take it. The majority of employers, 67%, say that they're willing to negotiate salary offers for recent college graduates. Now, that is fabulous news. If you can get your first job and negotiate a higher salary than you were expecting, that is marvelous. So I say to all of you 2016 graduates, get those resumes and cover letters ready so that you can make your mark in the workplace. The other good news is that millennials who will make up that 2016 job pool, they have a very practical notion about a job. They just want a steady job. They're not even fussy about what it is. It says a survey conducted by the Harvard University Institute of Politics in collaboration with the Washington Post shows that Americans ages 18 to 29 are less than impressed with technological wonders and business giants today, divided on the virtue of government regulations and just as worried about their digital data being swallowed by tech companies as the federal government. Perhaps most striking, only about 1/3 of Americans age 18 to 29 say starting their own businesses is one of the most important goals or very important in their work life. Far more, 53% say having a steady, stable job is a very important goal, even if it is less exciting. And still more say achieving success in a high-paying career is important, or having a job that benefits society is important to them. Having enough time to spend with family and friends tops the list of qualities, with 85% saying that it is important. Younger Americans also prefer a more traditional work arrangement. Half say they'd rather go to work for a business, compared with 22% seeking nonprofit work, and 17% eyeing government employment. And among those aiming for company work, more than half say they prefer joining an established company over a younger company or starting a business. Millennials' desire for a more stable job aligns with challenges they faced early in their careers. The unemployment rate among 18 to 34-year-olds grew to more than 12% in 2010, leading many to delay living independently or getting married. Although they are the best educated generation, many have significant college debt, perhaps deterring future financial risk. Well, that makes sense if you have a lot of student loans, because it's my understanding that the bill comes monthly and you are expected to pay it. Now, I was really blessed because when I graduated from college, I didn't have any debt, and I am eternally grateful for that. So I have a lot of sympathy for you millennials who, have student loan debt, because you're trying to better yourself, but yet the initial job and the initial check, much of it will go to paying back the loans that you got for going to college. And my suggestion is this, young people: if at all possible, study really hard and get as many scholarships as possible. I know that doesn't sound like something that many students want to entertain, but study hard and get as many scholarships, because that will lower your loan ratio when you get your first job, so you don't have to spend all of your money paying back student loans. And so this evening, because we're winding down, I want to share something funny, because this has been pretty heavy, talking about work. It can often create a lot of anxiety. But I read in the paper about people that I guess they were sharing information in terms of doing their resumes, but they didn't tell the truth. And many times when you don't tell the truth on your resume, you can get caught. And so I want you to keep that in mind as I share with you some of the things that people have said on their resume that raised flags, and unfortunately, they didn't get the job. It says, it's one thing to spin your experience to make it more relevant to the position you're pursuing. It's another thing to claim you have more years of experience than is possible at your age. And that's actually what happened. One employer, in a career builder survey on application and resume mistruths, said that an applicant claimed to have 25 years of experience at age 32. Other unusual and outrageous lies employers recalled in the survey included applicants included job experience that was actually his father's. Both father and son had the same name, so Junior just decided to use Senior's experience. Also, applicants claimed to be the assistant to the prime minister of a foreign country that doesn't have a prime minister. Applicants claim to have been a high school basketball free throw champion. He admitted it was a lie in the interview. Also, an applicant claimed to have been an Olympic medalist. Applicant claimed to have been a construction supervisor. The interviewer learned the bulk of his experience was in the completion of a doghouse some years prior. An applicant also claimed to have worked for 20 years as the babysitter of known celebrities such as Tom Cruise and Madonna. An applicant listed 3 jobs over the past several years. Upon contacting the employers, the interviewer learned that the applicant had worked at one for 2 days, another for 1 day, and not at all for the third. An applicant also applied to a position with a company that had just terminated him. He listed the company under previous employment and indicated on his resume that he had quit. An applicant also applied twice for the same position and provided different work history on each application. So what they recommend is 4 things that Career Builder says to leave off your resume is the objective statement. You don't need to do that anymore. It's considered passé. References available upon request. You should leave that off. Outdated or irrelevant information. And personal attributes. It says, unless you're applying for a modeling job or another position, leave your picture off your resume. Most employers shouldn't and legally can't care about your appearance. So there you have it. It's a lot to consider when you're looking for a job, but you have to keep logic, I guess, in the plan and just use some common sense because unless the person doing the hiring is very young, most hiring managers, they've seen it all. And even though you may come up with some very clever and creative ways, I guess, to present yourself, they can tell whether these things are true. So when looking for a job, just be truthful and present the best you that you're able to do and leave it at that. Because generally, you will impress people by your knowledge, your skills, your talent, and your abilities. And if that doesn't get the job for you, then perhaps that's just not the right one. And you can always feel free to continue looking. I hope that you have enjoyed what I've had to say about the workplace. Hopefully these tips will help you in your pursuit of employment. And as always on this show, the goal is to move you from misery to magnificence and from subpar to spectacular. So go out there and get that job and keep some of these things that I've mentioned in consideration. Have a wonderful night. We're going to be gone for the next 2 weeks. We will return on June the 13th with more wonderful news to share with you. Take care of yourself, and God bless.
I know you're fed up, ladies, but keep your head up.